Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Full Potential Show. I'm James Rick, and this is your number one non-boring source for personal development. And today on the line, we have Vince Poscente, speaker and author of The Ant and the Elephant and the Age of Speed. Vince helps organizations achieve big goals in short order. He's a Hall of Fame speaker, New York Times best-selling author, internationally recognized for his motivational keynotes, of which I was also in the audience one time. And yes, he does blow you away with his energy. Vince, so nice to have you on the show today, and excited to talk to you about helping people achieve their big goals in short order.
Great. Good to be here. How can I help?
Well, that's a serving attitude. So let's dive right in and talk about how you can help. So first of all, what is it that a person needs to do in order to, first of all, identify what their big goal is? I mean, it really seems like the starting place is clarity. Wouldn't you agree?
Right. Well, clarity for sure. And I think clarity is often misaligned in people's brains because they think clarity of vision. What does it look like? And you have to actually start from what does it feel like? Because most people start from, hey, I want a new car, or I want a new job, or I want a new wife. They want something new or something bigger. And my whole gig is that if you have something that has an emotional buzz attached to it, then it's worth paying attention to. And it qualifies as an emotional buzz when a thought creates a physical reaction. That's the story of the Olympic story.
Yeah, no, I really like that distinction because emotion ultimately is what's going to subconsciously drive us. So if we kind of get in our head and say, these are the goals that I want to set, I think you've probably realized this from experience too. You try to set logical goals, your emotions will drive you to do the subconscious goal. Right.
And I think men more than women, actually, because there's something called female intuition. Women get that. So this part of is just for the guys. Sometimes it just has to feel right. Sometimes it doesn't have to make sense. Sometimes it just has to feel right. And that's why this whole Olympic thing I referred to, where I went from recreational skier to Olympics in 4 years, that wasn't realistic. That's not a rational decision. But for whatever reason, I was fascinated by the Olympic Games. It's the thought of being an Olympic athlete and marching in the opening ceremonies. When that sends a tingle up and down your spine, that's worth paying attention to.
And I think it's interesting to kind of cover this story a little bit. I mean, you literally made up your mind at one point, I'm going to be in the Olympics. And you weren't an Olympic skier at that time. You made up your mind that you're going to go to the Olympics. And then what did that emotional buzz do for you? I mean, what were some of your next steps after you made that goal?
Let's look at it. Let's back up a second here, because on the surface, it sounded like I just decided to be an Olympic athlete and went for it. I had raced in luge for a couple years, but I quit. And I watched my buddies competing in the Olympic Games, marching in the opening ceremonies. I had a ticket for those opening ceremonies. And often decisions aren't just made on what we have as an emotional buzz. It also, the impetus comes from pain, not wanting that sting of regret in the stands with the ticket going, I could have been me, yet I didn't commit to it.
Yeah.
So couple that, that yin and yang symbol?
Yeah.
You couple the drive towards wanting something and the drive towards never experiencing something again. You see what I mean?
Yes.
Things, and that's where you can have something accelerated. That's something where you can actually have a big goal that scares you, then it's worth paying attention to. And don't worry if it scares you.
And you didn't start from ground zero on this thing. I mean, you obviously had some experience. So your goal was also aligning with some earlier preparation, right? I mean, you didn't just, I'm going to be a skier and I'm going to go to the Olympics in 4 years. You obviously had some built-in experience beforehand.
I think we all do. I think if we looked at our life, it's a bunch of dots. And you can take the experiences you have in your life that brought you to here today and say, what skill set, what kind of expertise do I have that I can actually leverage? And then I built on that with stuff that wasn't my expertise.
And so somebody who's watching right now who's like, okay, I get this stuff. I have an emotional goal that I've been either avoiding or that I've had set for a while. and I'm not getting there, or I feel like I need to get some other things sorted out of the way first. I mean, what is generally the model for achieving one of these big, audacious goals? I mean, is there a template, or do you just have to, once you've got it set and once you have it clarified, you just have to keep moving towards it? What would you say to that?
I think there is a template. My initial reaction was no. But if you really had to split it into 5 categories, you mentioned it earlier, clarity, but clarity with an emotion. Second, if you drive towards something, then you need commitment. Mm-hmm. And commitment is very often misguided because the couple walks down the aisle and they've committed. Well, anybody that's been married knows commitment's not just that day. It's every single day. It's a process. Commitment's a process. And then consistency. What will you do consistently under that model? And I like to do what the competition's not willing to do. Not what they're not doing. Everybody does that. That's a high performer. But if you did what the high performers aren't willing to do, game changer. And then confidence and control are the final 2 steps, where you got to build confidence to create peak performance. Confidence comes from experience. What if you don't have the experience? So how do you create confidence without the experience?
I love it.
That's also a high performer's credo, if you will. And then finally, controlling your immediate environment. And that's what you bring to the environment, not what the environment brings to you. So that would be routine prior to your speech or sale or negotiation, whatever.
All right, I love this. I want to go through this template with you one more time because I think it is a concise model. I just added another C to it. We've got
right there. Models in the book, the ant and the elephant, and that's why I wrote the book. I said, how can you recreate this thing in your life? And that's why I wrote this book. So
okay, and that's the ant and the elephant, right? So the ant goes through. He has clarity,
commitment.
Is he taking down an elephant? Is that what it is?
No. The ant is the metaphor for the conscious mind, and the elephant is the metaphor for the subconscious mind.
Right. Beautiful metaphor, by the way. Beautiful metaphor. So we've got clarity, commitment, consistency, and then on the 4th one, it's doing what the competition is not willing to do. So
no, confidence.
Okay. So I've got, when you say do what the competition is not willing to do, which C does that fall
under? That's their consistency. So
okay,
if
gotcha.
You're going to execute on something consistently, let's say you're driving towards building a widget company. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to build this widget company, what will you do consistently?
What will you do that's different from the competition in that market?
Not just different, what the competition's not willing to do. And don't miss that distinction, because if you think of a high performer you're competing with, now you're in the business of motivation, inspiring people, you have to look at your business and say, okay, who's my competition? What are they not willing to do? That then reveals the competitive advantages your competition hasn't even thought of, and then separates you from the competition in a much easier way, and also accelerates it, which is what you want. You want this to happen faster, sooner than later.
This is a really important distinction, because that is your unique selling position, right? What is the competition not willing to do? If I'm willing to do it, that is my unique positioning in the market. I can totally just leverage that. So I like that. That's a great distinction. All right, so we've got clarity, commitment, consistency in doing what the competition is not willing to do, confidence, and then control of your routine, which is this a matter of preparation, you're saying, before the actual event?
Right, exactly. Okay. I mean, you'll see athletes do it a lot. If you're around musicians, they do the same thing. Before they perform, they have a routine. Some people think that that's, what's it called, a superstition. Mm-hmm. Maybe. But what it really does is it sets up momentum for peak performance. Because if you go through the same routine prior to every performance, you set up yourself up to, leave the starting gate, if you will, with the same speed, the same momentum, the same direction each time.
Now, anybody who's watching or listening for a while knows I'm really big on routine, so I'm really in agreement with you here, and I think this is the epicenter of the preparation for any major goal or success. So I want to know a little bit, Vince, about your routine in a day. Do you have as you set these goals, I mean, do you have an awesome routine that you'd like to share? Maybe like a few key things that you have to do every day to really prepare yourself?
Well, let me focus on two for you. The 30,000 foot routine and then the daily one. 30,000 foot is that I have a motto, and it's all my staff with the same model. Do everything single entry. Single entry, single entry, single entry. So we don't touch anything more than once. But if I have a company about speed, then we better practice it. And so single entry saves so much time. So for example, I have a calendar. And that calendar, instead of having a whiteboard, and we have 3 kids and they're in music lessons and basketball, all this kind of stuff, we have one calendar that's on everybody's PDA. Everybody knows the same thing. It's a digital thing. If it changes everybody's. So single entry. If you just follow that one thing, you'd save time.
And they need to apply it in the right areas, because you don't want to go home and apply that same rule with your kids or your pets. That's probably not the most effective way.
Well, I told my wife I loved her last year. That's good enough.
Right. Single entry, honey. Single entry. We're about speed. I'm sorry. Buster, I'm sorry. All right.
Read the note on the fridge. Okay.
So we got the 30,000 foot routine, single entry, don't touch it more than once, unless it's your relationships. That's a little different. And then what's the second one?
Well, right down on the daily basis, I got this from a billionaire. I don't know if you know many billionaires. I know one, and Peter Thomas. And this guy taught me something. I just do it on a daily basis, and they're called MITs. And I figure out the 3 to 5 most important things that I can accomplish in a day. And I just do those 3 to 5 things. And if I have time left over, which I never do, because these MITs, these most important things, are critical.
Yeah, and that's really key too, because we can feel important and have this big to-do list, but in the end, like when we really hunker down and do the important things, they take up the day. And at least if you do get three important things done in a day, you're going to feel really good about that. So that kind of goes along with your idea of the emotional buzz of hitting, doing the things that are going to make you feel emotionally good after you do them. So awesome routine. Now, do you incorporate anything else? Like, are these important things related to financial, or do you kind of broaden categories out, or how do you make the distinction of what's important?
Well, I always do my MITs relative to my business. I mean, there's other things that I follow. When I finish work, I spend time with my kids. I'm not a fan of multitasking. So when I'm with my kids, I put the PDA away. When I'm at work, the kids are doing their own thing. When they show, now this right now is a back office where our house is over there. And so when they come home from school, they're going to be walking by this, sliding glass door, and it's like, okay, work's over. So, there's priorities. They'll be old enough and moving out. I can work longer days then, but for now.
Yeah. So, all right. So there's some balance there, but the MITs are related to the
business.
what you have to do within your business. And then when you go home, you've got, a separate routine, which is a good thing. It's a good thing to make that separation, especially when you got single entry in the business. All right, Vince. So I really like the book. I love the metaphor. It's a beautiful metaphor, the ant and the elephant. Where can people pick up a copy of this book and also learn more about your keynotes, which I can personally attest have been absolutely awesome. I watched you at NSA, and it's so much energy in what you present. So where can they learn more about your book and also about your speaking?
Well, thank you. Well, one place, one-stop shop, if you will. And my website is vinceposcente.com. And I'm sure there's all sorts of creative ways to spell Poscente, so knock yourself out.
We'll put that up so that there's no confusion. But Vince Poscente, VincePoscente.com, and that's you can get the books and the speaking there, or is the book on a separate site?
No, all there.
Okay, VincePoscente.com. So good to have you on the show, Vince. I encourage everybody to check out your website, vinceposcente.com. Any final thoughts you want to leave our audience with?
You know what? It doesn't have to be any more complicated than one decision, and that decision is to have fun. If you just have fun, it all falls into place. The second you get stressed out, the second you feel overwhelmed, that's not taking me closer to where I want to go. So go back to saying, I'm just going to have fun. Figure out how it's going to be fun. I promise you, promise you this will work.
All right, so in whatever you're doing, in the most important things that you're planning today, and whatever routine you're creating for your life, whatever goals you are, do it all within the context of fun. That's what you're saying, Vince.
Just have fun. Make that decision to have fun.
I love it. Okay, that's coming from Vince. Make the decision to have fun. It's that simple. You're going to enjoy everything you're doing. Check out his books, vinceposcente.com. Also, if you're going to book a speaker, Vince is the man. Vince, so good having you on the Full Potential Show, my friend.
Great to be here. You're doing good work.
Thanks,
Keep it up.
buddy. I appreciate it. Take care. Everybody watching and listening right now, be sure and like and subscribe to Full Potential Show so you can get more great insights from people like Vince and freebies you'll only find right here on the Full Potential Show. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Vince, take care.
You too.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of the Full Potential Show, your number one non-boring source for personal development. I'm James Rick, and if you want to get more positive programming for your brain absolutely free on a weekly basis, just visit fullpotential.com.
If you like the Full Potential Show, you're going to love the Full Potential Club. What would you like most as a Full Potential Club member? Be 2 to 3 times more productive? Do what you're passionate about? Have more energy? Reduce your work hours? Travel the world? Enjoy an amazing lifestyle on a frugal budget? What if you could do them all? James Rick has been there and done it in ways that few people have. For anyone serious about taking their life or business to the next level, you know you've got to do more than just watch. You've got to do. Join James Rick and other like-minded people for an incredible $10 a month at fullpotential.com/club. Be educated. Be empowered. Be the best version of you. fullpotential.com/club. Try it free for 30 days.